All right. Well, when it is time to go to college, one of the things you'll probably do is fill out some financial aid work because you want to make the most of cash flowing college. All right. So you got to focus on some specifics. And I mean, the paperwork. Listen, when you fill out some of this paperwork, it is a pain in the neck. It's not fun. And your parents are probably going to have to help you for it. I mean, it's going to involve their tax returns. It's really a nightmare. It's not easy. But that's the system that we have right now, and that's what you got to deal with. And this is called FAFSA, FAFSA. That's free application for federal student aid. All right. And as you move on down the page, it talks about some federal funding is awarded on a first come, first served basis. All right. So you want to get this in as quickly as possible. Probably if you're going to school in the fall, if you're going this fall, you've probably already filled it out. Typically, you want to do this like as quickly as the end of January, all right, because or early February, okay, because once again, some federal funding is awarded on the first come first serve basis. All right, now when you do this and you fill it out, you want to make sure that the student loans are removed from your funding. We're not going there, all right, so just keep that in mind. And then you want to explore grants because grants are golden. These are simply things that are free money. And we have things like the federal Pell Grant that you can look up, do a little research on. I mean, once again, in high school, one of the things you're going to have to do is research this stuff. You're going to have to spend time on the internet and look up scholarships, check out grants, see what's out there, and learn about these things. And grants are free money. And once again, we like free money. We've talked about free money. Let me just reinforce. You get a job for, and your employer will match what you put into your 401k. If it's 3%, make sure you're at least investing 3%. They will match it. That's free money. You take it. If you can do a Roth IRA, it grows tax free. All right. We like Roth IRAs. Free. Okay. So we like free. All right. On scholarships, another form of free money is scholarship. So once you're gonna work on those, and there's hundreds of scholarships out there. And so you have to do some research on what's out there and apply for some of those things. And keep in mind, good grades are very, very helpful. So when it comes time, you want to visit the financial aid office if you need to. And you in this day and age, you may call or whatever, but you're going to get in contact with the financial aid office. Now, just there's some more notes there. If parent, I mean, for instance, right now, some high schoolers going to college in the fall, their parents maybe got laid off for a season because of the current issues that we're dealing with here in the U.S. All right. Now, another thing you can do is get a part time job, work up to 20 hours a week. Now, listen, I know it's hard. You think, well, I don't have time. I've got to go to school. I got to study. I got to do all this stuff. I know, but you'd be surprised. Uh, Sometimes getting a job makes you budget your time a little better, and actually become better at your academics. And some people do better working a part-time job, and it's not unheard of. So, and I throw that out there because when my boy was at JMU, he didn't know and he had a job. He didn't know of another student who was working. They're just piling up their student debt. My boy didn't. And so just keep that in mind. You could work 20 hours a week and it will not hurt your grades. Now, if you need to, you can work 12 to 15 hours, but the idea is try to do something. You could deliver pizzas. In this day and age, you could probably get a couple gigs, not working that many hours, and do yourself a lot financially. All right. May want to work off campus, not on campus. There's always on campus jobs, but you could work off campus. My boy lived off campus and he worked off campus. All right. So you can do that. All right. So just keep that in mind as you go through and you're thinking about your finances and how you're going to pay cash for it. And let's come up with a plan. And if you're in 10th grade, 11th grade, you have more time to plan, more time to think ahead. And, you know, be thankful right now. Maybe you're not looking for a job. Although Walmart's hiring a lot, Domino's is hiring, Amazon. I mean, a lot of people are hiring. So even despite all the issues that we're dealing with right now, but you just want to go back and let's just review some of our budgeting basics on page 116, like spending. We got to think ahead of time what we're going to spend every month. We've always saving for something. Something's coming up down the road. It could be the next car. It could be new brakes. Could be new tires. There's always, so we've got to be putting money aside regularly. All right. And then, of course, you want to always be giving generously. So put that in your budget. If you're making $20 a week, maybe you give $2, maybe you give $5. All right. So you know what you want to do. You want to do all that. But we're going to avoid student loans. We're going to stay in school, but we're going to stay out of debt. All right. They don't have to go together. And once again, you may attend a school closer to home. Maybe you can live at home rent free. No room and board. That can be very, very helpful. All right, so there's a lot of ways to get through school without taking on the debt. Now, as we move on to section 4 on page 118, there are some options, and I've mentioned already about trade school, HVAC. And I know, like in Northern Virginia, I think heating and air conditioning technician can make about $100,000 a year. I'm going to say you start there, but I'm saying you can do well. Listen, here's what I know about heating and air conditioning. People will always need heating and air conditioning. Now think about it. During this crisis time in the U.S., food stores, my boy's a manager at a store in Northern Virginia working at this particular time over 70 hours a week. Why? People have to eat, even in the middle of a crisis. He could work more, but you can only do so much. All right, so there's that. People's heating and air conditioning needs service. So there are good jobs out there available that you do not have to go to college. Now, if you're wired for them, you don't want a job that you have no interest in, you don't like stuff. I get all that, but all I'm saying is let's not totally rule out trade school. Hey, another thing is certification. I know of a guy. Actually, he is my son-in-law's cousin. Works from home in Northern Virginia, and he works. Okay, I won't get this exact, but he kind of works in security, cyber security, and all he has is a certification, and he is knocking down some big bucks. All right. And listen, if I could tell you about, okay, let me just share one quick thing, and then I've got to press on. Okay, so several years ago, from what I understand, the U.S. kind of put like a virus in the Iranian tech system to slow down their ability to develop nuclear arsenal. Somehow they got into the system, found our virus, learned from it, and several years ago they actually hacked into quite a few of our banks here in the U.S. So cybersecurity is becoming huge, and I could spend another hour talking about that. That's a field that you may not need a 4-year degree. Maybe just get a certification, and you'd have to research that out, of course. But let's not forget that. And of course, on the side, you're always going to be doing some self-education. You can read books and blog. There's stuff. Oh, the amount of information is endless. So do that. Then there's on-the-job training. You get a job, go take a job somewhere, and you can learn a lot right on the job. And then there's the associate's degree, which is a 2-year thing. All right, so a lot of opportunities out there. May or may not be 4 years. We're not going to go into debt. We're going to pay cash. We're going to look at the opportunities. We're going to search out for scholarships. And we're going to enjoy whichever way we go because we're going to go debt free and pay